Yeah, like I was saying, Superman and Batman, these DC characters, maybe Wonder Woman or whatever, but overall, far as for Superman, he hasn't trained literally his whole life. If you once again, if you want to throw in GT at the end of GT when Goku became immortal, he went off to train some more. So Goku pretty much is just gonna train for fucking ever, like people want to bring up the Golden Age God version of Superman, which Death Battle mentioned that because they said, oh, the Dragon Ball Z fans, if you want to talk about Goku becoming immortal at the end of GT, then we would also have to bring up Superman when he became a god, which it would pretty much be a stalemate, which is very true. But my thing is, it took Superman thousands of years to become, basically a god. And I forget what fight it was, but I swear there was a fight where one of the characters like went into like a cocoon, some kind of like cocoon state to like charge up or some shit like that, and they count that as a loss. I can't remember for sure. If you guys know what I'm talking about, then just put, yada yada versus, whoever, I swear there was a fight though that one of the characters like did that where they basically had to like hibernate for like years or whatever, and they count that as a loss. So go off of Death Battle's rules, if Superman had a charge for like 1,000 years or 15,000 years or whatever the fuck, that's a loss in their eyes anyway. Whereas Goku, it was instantaneous pretty much, like it was boom, like he became immortal. So anyway, but they didn't, that was in, no, like it was just Goku versus modern age Superman, okay? And they broke character with both Superman and Goku, but more or less they broke character with Superman when it would be more at an advantage, and they more or less broke character with Goku when it was at a disadvantage. You see what I'm saying? People bring up like Black Bond, which he was correct. He brings up that they didn't use all the powers of Superman because he's just so much more overpowered than Goku. He's basically pretty much saying that Superman wouldn't have even needed to use those powers to be Goku. And I get where you're coming from. My thing is, some of those extra things that that Superman can do, I don't think Superman would have done it at the beginning of the fight, because Superman even said to Goku when Goku was still in base form, he told Goku you're outmatched and just to give up. So why would Superman need to just go all out and start doing crazy shit like vibrating to the point that he could phase through Goku, even though Goku can go through dimensions anyway? But hey, most of y'all don't know that, but Goku can go through dimensions. Say I'm wrong or not, but yes he can. But either way, either fucking way, Superman doing things like that, Superman thinking logically and fighting Goku at that point, Goku was no match for Superman, so why would he need to do all this extra shit? You know what I'm saying? And by the time, Goku got to that strength where it was even, or maybe Goku was a little stronger, Superman was starting to get weak, which he stated. He said, I'm running low on energy, which, these things make sense. It makes sense for Superman not to do certain things at the beginning of the battle because Goku was no match. And by the time Superman would have done those things, he was getting weak and he needed the sun. My thing is, like what Shokyo said, when Superman was, running, trying to get to the sun, Goku would have sensed this. And Goku would have just kept using instant transmission and his magic power pole, which would have kept him weak. And Goku could have just fought Superman into the night if it took that long, which would have also put him more at a disadvantage. And eventually, Goku would have killed his ass, whether you're talking Super Saiyan 3 or Super Saiyan 4, whether you want to use GT Goku or not, which, like I said, GT Super Saiyan 4 Goku is stupid anyway, even though that's putting Goku at, giving Goku more help. I think that was stupid because Goku didn't have his tail. So, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, in character, with the fight that they portrayed, Goku should have won, because Goku would have sensed what was going on. He would have gone after his power pole instead of just going to Super Saiyan 3 right after Superman threw his power pole. He would have flown after the power pole and maybe charged up as he was going for it or whatever. He would have gotten the power pole, then gone to Super Saiyan 3, or whatever, and then he would have kept fighting Superman, and he would have kept his ass on the ground with his magic power pole. Where Superman, like he was saying, I don't have a lot left in me, which goes back to the whole thing of me saying Superman wouldn't have been doing all these extra crazy things because logically it would have been a gamble, and logically it wouldn't have made sense. And Superman is a logical person. You know, he's a book nerd. He is those book smarts. He would have thought logically, I don't have a lot left in me. I'm not gonna gamble my chances by doing all this extra shit. Because he still doesn't really know what all Goku is capable of. So it's just like, yeah, I could maybe try to do some of these extra things, these extra powers, but it's going to deplete my energy. I need the sun. But Goku would have sensed what was going on with Superman's energy, and he would have kept beating him with the power pole because he would have sensed, you know, what was going on with that. And Goku would have eventually won. Like I said, it might have gone into the night, but if that's the case, it would just put Goku at more of an advantage. And if Superman tried to fly away and go back to Metropolis, which would have probably been sunny at this point in time, because we can assume that, you know, like the Dragon Ball Z area that they were in and Metropolis are on opposite ends of the Earth, like, you know, America, Japan, whatever. Goku could have just kept using instant transmission. If you want to say, oh, with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, he can only stay in that form for a certain amount of time, according to Death Battle. But if you guys watch the fucking show, those times that he was saying that was when Goku was first, you know, when he first really was, learned to transform into that state. And usually each transformation, it takes a lot for them to transform into that state, and they usually can't hold it that long when they first learn it. But by the end of Dragon Ball Z, Goku pretty much had that on lock. So it wouldn't have depleted his energy that fast. You know what I'm saying? And that whole thing when they had that quote from GT with Goku was Super Saiyan 4, and he was saying, you know, oh, I'm just so instinctual. I can't even think and all this stuff when he was in Super Saiyan 4, and you guys want to bring that up. Oh, maybe that's why Goku wasn't thinking as logically. He may have seemed out of character because he was Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4, and they had that quote from GT, which is the king of contradictions for the whole series and, you know, Goku's life or whatever, and him saying that he can't think logically. Once again, if you pay attention to Dragon Ball Z, Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan 4, look how much more calm and more zen-like they are in those transformations than they are later on, or in Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2. Once again, GT shouldn't have even been in this fucking fight. I know Dragon Ball Z has their contradictions, but if you watch when Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you know, when he's in that power form, he's fighting the very last villain, there's so many fuck-ups in that, like the part where the villain blasts him with that like red energy blast on Super Saiyan 4, and it hits Goku, and like he takes damage from it, and then later on or whatever, or like there's another part in that fight where he's just his normal base form. He's like his Kid Goku. He's got the Spirit Bomb. He's charging the Spirit Bomb. He's not absorbing it. He's just charging it up. So he's not getting, you know, he's not healing up from it or anything. You know, and Omega Shenron, or whatever his name is, the evil, you know, Shenron dude, blasts him with the same attack, and it doesn't do shit to him. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's just too many. You can't really take, and, you know, logic with GT and take that as the end-all be-all thing. It just, like I said, GT shouldn't have even been in that. So that whole thing with them being Super Saiyan 3 or whatever and them not thinking logically is complete bullshit. Goku should have known what the fuck was going on. That is in character. That makes sense with his character if you watch the whole fucking show from when that dude was a little boy to the end of Dragon Ball Z. It makes sense for him to be able to sense his energy, which he already stated he could when he was, you know, he wasn't at home, but he was at Master Roshi's house or whatever, wherever they were at the beginning of that skit, and he said, this guy is the strongest person I've ever sensed. So him bringing his power pole, I know he didn't use his power pole that much in you know, DBZ, but him using that would make sense. Excuse me, it's in my mouth. I was eating a cheeseburger earlier. Yeah, him using his that weapon or whatever, it makes sense because they stated that, you know, Goku stated that this is the strongest opponent that he's ever faced, which I could agree with. So it makes sense for him to do this, to bring that staff. Super Saiyan 4 doesn't make any fucking sense. Him thinking all instinctual and all this crazy shit doesn't make any fucking sense. Goku not being able to tell about, you know, Superman when he was getting higher, closer to the sun doesn't make any fucking sense. So with the situations that they put in there, Goku should have won. Period. With his instant transmission, with his power pole, with him being able to sense Superman's energy and all this stuff, he should have won. And speaking of GT, if you want to take that quote as the end all be all, there's other quotes where Goku says that he likes to know his enemy's weaknesses. So like I said, there's just too much. There's too many quotes that you can take from shit that Goku said that I can counter with other shit. It's just fucking stupid. You gotta look, once again, you gotta look at the way Superman and Goku act in the way that they fight. Okay. Yes, Goku does go on instinct to an extent, but he still is a genius, which is what they stated, and he still does use logic when it comes to his fights. He still does like to see fuck-ups in people's fighting abilities and, you know, all this other type of shit. He could have won. I'm not saying it would have been an automatic. I'm not saying, like, once again, if it was like who, you know, the best out of 10, I think 8. I say like 8 out of 10, Superman would have won. So it does make the more sense for Superman to win, because he, you know, he would win, you know, 8 out of 10 or whatever. But it's not like Goku just couldn't win at all. It's not like Goku just had a 0% chance of winning. And the way that the circumstances that they put in there, Goku should have won that fight. Period. They fucked up with his strength and his speed and his durability, and they also should have put skill into account for both characters as well, because that's also a very important attribute for both those characters, and Goku has the better skill. I don't care what the fuck you say. Just once again, look at what the fuck they do and what they stand for. They fucked up with Superman with him, with him going so far all out that it took him destroying the planet to take out this guy. That's out of character for Superman. Okay, whether you want to say, oh, Superman could somehow rebuild Earth with his energy, I'm not gonna argue that. You know, I'm not gonna argue that shit. You know, Superman can, you know, make Earth reappear out of nothing. All right. You know, I know enough about Superman to say no, that's not true, but there may be some things in the comic books that I haven't read that he can do that. Okay, whatever. You know, I actually say the same thing about Goku with the Dragon Balls and all that stuff, you know, if he were to win and all that. My thing is, Superman wouldn't even allowed, even knowing that he could rebuild Earth, Superman puts Earth before himself. He would never fucking do that. He wouldn't destroy the planet to take out this one dude, especially seeing as Goku wasn't hurting anybody. You know, maybe the whole Lex Luthor building, but hey, it was Lex Luthor, you know. Anyway, overall, he wasn't saying he was going to blow up the planet. He wasn't killing nobody. There was really nobody even really around, but obviously it's Earth. There's got to be people somewhere. This dude blew up the entire planet. That's out of character for Superman. I'm not saying Superman couldn't have still beaten Goku at a less charged up state, but he wouldn't allow himself to go that far. Goku wouldn't allow him to get that close to the sun anyways. Like, do you see, like, the fuck-ups in this fight? Do you see the fuck-ups in Goku's stats for his strength, durability, and speed? They also, like I said, they also should have acknowledged skill as well. But you can't take 25-year-old weakling Goku and then just multiply that and say that that's his maximum everything, when you know Goku at 35 is a hell of a lot faster, hell of a lot stronger, and hell of a lot more durable. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Period. That whole thing was stupid. I'm not saying that if they did have numbers for Goku at the end of Dragon Ball Z and multiplied that Superman all of a sudden would just be like, Goku would be like, you know, way up here, Superman would be down here. So I'm not, Superman probably still would have had the higher stats. I would like Nerdy Talk said, you know, I agree, I would have been more comfortable if there were stats and they could have shown that. I would have been more comfortable, but I understand why they couldn't. They should have just left it the fuck alone, since they said you know, his shit is hard to judge. So, you know, they said it was difficult to judge. They should have left that shit alone. You're not gonna take my lifting strength when I'm 5 years old just because you don't know my lifting strength now. Common sense is gonna tell you I'm stronger at 22 than I am at 5 years old. Period. So if you don't know exactly the numbers, don't fucking use my 5-year-old stats. That shit is out of date. Just show the other guy lifting, let's say the guy they put me up against could lift a fucking car. Look how skinny I am. Obviously, I can't lift a fucking car. That's just common sense. But common sense also tells you that I can lift more than I could when I was 5 fucking years old. You see? So even if you times it by 2, it doesn't matter because you would need to times my strength now by 2. So it's gonna be a higher number. Just look at the fucking common sense. If I can't lift a car but the other guy could, chances are he can beat me in an arm wrestling contest. You know, even if you don't know how much I can lift, you know he's gonna beat me. That's all that they had to basically say. You know, I'm just making it simple so everybody can understand. But that's really all the fuck they had to say. This motherfucker can move planets. They never show. I'm not saying Goku can't do it, but just going off of what they've shown Goku do, that means he can't do that. We've seen exactly what Superman can do, you know, or whatever. We've seen him do, well, we've seen what Goku can do as well. What I'm saying is, the things that we've seen Superman do is a lot more than what we've seen Goku do. You know what I mean? Superman 1, we've seen Superman do bigger things than we've seen Goku. You know, at, you know, the end of the TV show for Goku, and the things that we've seen Superman do is just a lot heavier shit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that should have been plenty. Common sense should have shown you. You shouldn't have needed numbers. I understand Death Battle was trying to be official and as authentic and precise as they could. And I give them props for that. That's great. You know, but it's just like, if you guys knew those numbers weren't up to date, to me, that's a bigger deal than you guys trying to be official. That, like, to me, those, like, you guys doing that was more unofficial. Even you know, if you guys were trying to be official by getting numbers for each guy, to me that was more unofficial because those numbers were out of date for Goku. You should have just explained it that way and just been like, look, there's nothing in the manga, there's nothing in the TV show, or even the movies, or even in GT that shows Goku moving a fucking planet. Yes, he's you know, might have blown up a planet, or might have been strong enough to blow up a planet, but that's not lifting strength. You see what I'm saying? So that, you know, things of that nature, speed, all this stuff, just show it. It's that simple. It's that easy. Boom. But going off of what they showed in that fight, Goku's skill should have won the fight. He should have been able to figure out Superman and exploit him before he got anywhere near the sun. Goku shouldn't have had to have blasted him to the sun. He should have just kept using the instant transmission and his power pole, knocking his ass back down to Earth and killing him. He shouldn't have allowed him to get that far out above the Earth. Anyway, he could just instant transmission in front of him like he did before. He should have just kept doing that. That makes sense for Goku's character, Super Saiyan 3 or not. You know, bringing up quotes from GT, which were bullshit, because there's other quotes that I can bring up that counter that shit. You see what I'm saying? You gotta go off of, you know, the way that they fight, and go off the way that Goku fights and Goku's personality. He will just use instant transmission and knock his ass back down to the ground until Superman eventually, the power struggle, the power, you know, whatever you want to call it, the tides will have turned, and Superman will have started going down, while Goku would have stayed, you know, here. Say Superman's here and Super Saiyan 3, Goku's here. Eventually that shit would have just, and Goku has kept pounding on his ass till Superman would have died. It's that fucking simple. You can't argue, you know, oh, Superman can just phase through him and, you know, do all this shit. Superman wouldn't have done that at the beginning of the fight. By the time he would have realized he needed to do that, by the time Goku was that strong, it would have been too late. Because Goku would have, you know, since Superman's power, he would have been doing that the whole time. Whereas, you know, for Goku started out weak as fuck in the fight, so Superman really didn't need to try. You know what I mean? If anything, Superman should have just killed him right away, which he did try to. Remember, he did the whole pressure point thing, and he said, I'm ending this now. That was Superman. That was him, you know, that's in character. That was him about to kill him. But what Superman didn't know is that he could transform into a Super Saiyan, which Goku blocked his punch and started fucking him up again. And Superman was even like, well, what the fuck's going on? Which makes sense, because they don't know each other. And Superman can't really sense parallels. Yes, he can sense your soul, but that's different. That's not a power level. So Superman's like, okay, what the fuck? What's going on? And then that's when he started using his magic power pole, and Superman started, you know, taking effects from that. And that's when Superman tried to go to the sun, which is logical. He wanted to charge up so he could beat this guy that just got immensely stronger. But then what did Goku do? He used his instant transmission, and he stopped him from going towards the sun, and he hit him with his magic power pole. Goku would just kept doing that shit. Do you guys understand? It's that simple. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. This video is long enough. It's probably like a 20-minute video or some shit. I said to get that off my chest. I, you know, already knew and assumed that Superman was gonna win. He had the bigger odds. I'm not trying to be biased about it. I'm just saying with Goku's skill, it would make sense. With those scenarios that I put in for Goku to win, it just makes more sense for Superman to win. So I'm not trying to, you know, come at this any kind of way. I'm fine with Superman winning. It's just the way that it went about was incorrect. It was out of character. The stats that they gave for Goku were out of date, and those things need to be addressed. That's all. This is Bobby W223. Peace out.